David is joining us from Berkeley. David's been in the TDM industry for a longtime friend of the Ride Amigos and friend of many of us who have been working in TDM. And so we're excited to hear what's going on in David's relatively new university setting. So David and friend, we're excited to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Matt. First and foremost, this is our intern, our TDM intern associate. Her name is Liliana. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Liliana's been working with me over the last, I'd say, about 6.5 months, overseeing a lot of our TDM efforts here on campus. We have nicknamed her the Hype Woman. So essentially, her role is to get the students moving because being 10 years removed from my undergrad, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So it helps to have a fresh pair of eyes to guide us along. That said, let's get the party started here. So here's our game plan. We have 30,000 employees, 20,000 students in a very, very, very dense campus. And so our role here in in the transportation department is to provide and promote alternative transit options for all 50,000 of them. Essentially, I'm in charge of a campus that is roughly the size of a small-ish large suburb. We have to address transit options that not only address our first mile and last mile needs, also we are developing strategies that are not only efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable. We only have 5,400 parking spaces on campus, and that number seems to be dwindling by the minute. So what we have to do is kind of hold everyone at the pass before we try anything new, or at least try to promote more alternative sustainable solutions as opposed to everyone driving alone. And thankfully, we do have some good numbers before we even begin. Liliana and I are beginning a strategic plan development because the last time that we have created one was about 2011. Our predecessors have made slow, steady movements, and what I'm doing is essentially bring it to the forefront and make it a priority so that we can actually have something that will get us through the end of the decade and then for the future. So we hit the next slide. This is essentially our portfolio here. We have transit passes that are offered to for BART, which is essentially, for you guys that don't understand, that might not know, BART is our commuter rail / subway that hits 4 out of the 9 Bay Area counties. We do have a stop that's located right outside of the campus, which is probably, I believe, one of the most well-used stations in the entire network, never mind the East Bay. We also partner with our local transit agency, which is AC Transit, which gives our students free bus passes as well as tax incentive-based passes to our employees, including myself. I have one of those. We have last mile shuttles to get people around. We did team up with Ride Amigos for their platform and our website. It's pretty good reception so far. We have 2 bike share programs. Both were launched both in 2017, one in late summer and one in November. We have massive carpool discounts for our employees and for our students because parking is not free in Berkeley. Never mind, there's no parking in the city of Berkeley per se. And then extensive marketing, because there's 50,000 people, there's only 2 of us. So we have to get smart about what we do to bring transit, making transit sexy for all 50,000 people. So the next thing that we'll talk about is our survey data. We are doing a transit survey. I believe it will be later on this spring, probably in the next few weeks, in which we want to try to not only sustain our 39.4% drive alone rate, but we do have a good bike and walking plan that we've coordinated with the city of Berkeley. That being said, a lot of our students live within 5 miles of the campus. A good deal of our employees live within 5 to 7 miles of the campus. However, because housing prices are so expensive in the Bay Area, especially the closer that you are on a campus, a lot of our staff tends to move further away from Berkeley. So that means that we have to kind of address first mile heading to BART, heading into experimenting with other concepts such as Chariot, Scoop, And we have to also make a needs assessment for our biking. Because of the fact that we did partner with the city of Berkeley on the bike plan, and of course a couple of newer projects that were finished, we have to make sure that we have the appropriate infrastructure to accommodate all the bikes. And of course, discounts for car pools and van pools, it's 75% off. So instead of paying $146 a month, just in general, you are now paying roughly about $36 a person. So there's a lot of savings that are involved here. So we talk about, let's see, the survey data next. Oh no. Okay, so we have our transit passes. Again, the students tax themselves. It's a small nominal fee. It's like $78 a semester that covers not only their AC transit passes, they can ride all 151 of the East Bay's transit routes, including the express buses that go into San Francisco. We do have that offer to our employees at a significant discount. All employees that pay more than $30 a month for transit get a $10 discount, or rather get a $10 subsidy that's provided by the university. We do offer BART passes. They don't have monthly passes, unlike many of the other transit agencies in the country. But at the same time, you do have the opportunity to buy kind of a high value ticket, which is $60 for $64 worth of rides. And of course, we are taking advantage of many opportunities for communication and input, not only with service changes that the next service change is coming up in March that might affect the campus. Our express service, AC Transit is doing a comparative operations analysis, which means that they're going to restructure their San Francisco-based service. So that does impact a lot of our grad students, less so our staff, but it definitely does impact everyone involved within the campus perimeter. So the next thing, next slide. We skipped over Bear Transit. We have 7 routes that cover 19 hours worth of service, including 2 routes that operate after 7 p.m. We have our Berkeley Moves platform, which is powered by Ride Amigos. So thank you for the opportunity to kind of work together in bringing transit to the masses. We did launch in 2017 during our new employee orientation. And since then, our user base has increased by 1,400 in the last 8 months. So we do a lot with our event planning for winter break. You know, the last thing our students want to worry about, this includes Liliana, is how do you get home? There's no really good way for you to get to downstate, to LA or the Central Coast, unless you're flying. I mean, you can drive, that's 6 hours though, but at the same time, if you're driving, why not have other people ride with you? We do have a Facebook page that is operated by some of our students, but it's not as effective as I would like to have it, because Liliana has experienced this. Like you know that, you know, you make a post, it disappears, right, goes into the to the nether regions.
You have to keep scrolling, and Ride Amigos provides more of a platform for you to see all of what's available in one place, and you know, you're able to better manage and look for the ride that you need.
Yeah, and so take it from her, she's been here longer than I have. And of course, for any concerts, special events, we did have Rideshare Week. We tried playing around with the website at that point. We had some people that participated in it. We also do a lot of survey work, not only through the Berkeley Moves app, but also through SurveyMonkey. Knowing that if we have more concrete data, we can be able to kind of play with how to proceed with our strategic plan, even though it's not a prerequisite. So the next thing that we have here, load them up. La 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 la. Uh-oh. No, go backwards. Okay, so bike share. So we launched 2 bike share programs. We are one of the first colleges in California, if not in the country, that has teamed up with a bike share agency to provide free bike share memberships for not all of our students, but a good chunk of them. Motivate is the company that powers Ford Go Bike, which is the Bay Area regional system. 7,000 bikes and 300 stations. We're not at 7,000 bikes just yet. They're on their way, though. We have 8 stations that surround the campus to get people from, say, BART or from home, wherever they live. I live 10 miles away, and I've done it once, but it's very convenient for people to get to and from many of the areas around Berkeley. However, we did look into doing another program for inter and intra-campus. We have a couple of bike share stations that are inaccessible. So therefore and of course we're on a 9% incline. So the further, I think it's about 9%, the further up that you go in the city, we are sat upon a hill, especially towards the east part of our campus. So we are piloting e-assist bikes to get people to and from different buildings, get them between classes, make travel a lot easier because there might not be sufficient bus service. And so we have launched 6 bikes in November. We're going to throw 94 more bikes into the mix later on this month. And this is geo-fence zone. So we're going to ride with it until spring 2019 when we get the data necessary for us to make the next move. And of course, we'll allow for the technology to actually evolve, and we can be able to accommodate for that. So let's see, the next thing up the line, we have car sharing. We partner with Zipcar as well as Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And of course, there's a third program that has recently come into the Oakland and Berkeley area, which is extremely successful, not only for those that are in and around the campus, but also for the inner East Bay on both Berkeley and in Oakland. So essentially, GIG is called Getting and Go. That is a one-way car sharing effort that users can be able, with a touch of a phone, they can be able to find the nearest car, and it'll get them between different points within the city as long as you're within the home zone. And the prices are very competitive. So next, we have here. So a lot of our involvement. So we are focused a lot on social outreach, mainly because a lot of our students may not actually know that all of these TDM programs exist. The same could be said with our staff as well. And so our role is to do as much social eye-to-eye interaction as much as we possibly can. Where it comes extremely successfully is actually doing the outreach to a lot of our student groups, such as the residence halls, the student union, the graduate assembly, social media, reaching out to, say, our grant and dream students, our Pell and Dream grant students, and that's where we provide the free bike share memberships to them as well. And that's been extremely successful. As a matter of fact, last week we gave away over 230 bike share memberships to those individuals, which is essentially very important because at least now that they have another option to get around campus for a very, very low cost of $0. That's right, $0. But we do focus on social media. We do participate with different grants and opportunities, not only within East Transit, Alameda County, the Air District that we have here, a regional transit authority, which is the MTC, and then also identifying leaders both externally outside of campus, but also internally, so that I can be able to actually deliver these projects effectively along with Liliana. And finally, data. Data is what guides us to making the best decisions as possible. That's the philosophy out of not only my section as a section manager, but also with the parking and transportation department on campus. We are self-funded as an auxiliary unit, so therefore all of our prices, all of our revenue comes in from tickets, parking permits, parking passes. Our budget is roughly $6 million out of the TDM and transit budgets as well. So we have to be kind of cognizant to how we effectively spend our monies. One thing that I realized that I am from Chicago, and so I helped start the PACE rideshare program in Chicago roughly 8 years ago. And during that time, we didn't really, this is when Facebook just really started to take off with everyone that didn't go to college. But the one thing that doesn't change is the fact that all these programs still exist. All of these networking opportunities still exist. All the channels, they still exist. And so nothing's really changed that much. You just have to make sure that your strategy is adjusted well. And finally, you have to corrupt them efficiently and effectively. So between employee orientation, we had Golden Bear orientation, which is our freshman that came in, Caltopia, which is essentially an extension of orientation, the tabling events, social media. I believe that we're doing small but effective, efforts to get the people going and to get our students connected, as well as our staff. Corrupting them the second that they come into campus, to get them into that mindset that transit is better than driving, mainly because our students, they're not allowed to bring cars onto campus anyway. We want to be able to be as proactive as possible. And so between Rideshare Week, Move-In Day, that's a little, we didn't sell that enough, but I can tell you we had 70 users take our shuttles. So if nothing else, we did put fear into them that they cannot park when our freshmen were in town. Winter break, we started, some were done through the Ride Amigos app, some were done through Facebook, and also through what we did to put on Facebook. Ford Go Bike is also the important thing too. We don't have any data just yet, but that is actually come due to us later this month. So again, communication is important. Having a game plan, having a budget. From my experience, if you don't have a budget, then you probably need to revisit your purpose. You have to connect with the students and faculty. Again, Liliana has fresh eyes, and it helps me develop a better program. Embrace change and experiment, and leverage grant funds if you can. And we're going to try to do a lot of that this year. And also getting internal and external support, not only from our chancellors, our vice chancellors, but also from different managers. Our sustainability team is well informed. Our parking committee knows what knows what I'm doing and supports what our objectives are for change. So with that being said, here's my contact information. If you have any questions, please follow us online and reach out via email if you have any concerns. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you both. Awesome work that you're doing there at Berkeley. We all know that the university populations are particularly difficult to engage with this kind of programming, and so we applaud you for the success that you're having and the hard work you're putting into it. So thanks for that. Thanks for joining us and sharing your successes so we can all be inspired by them. Hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah, you will. Thanks.
Thank you.